You know what I've been thinking? This is my honest opinion. And this is based off recent, I guess, internet events. About the Corey Holcomb and the Anton Daniels situation. This is a perfect example of, to me, in my opinion, the internet age versus the pre-internet age. And what I mean by that is, you got a dude who's made his, his fame and his, I guess, fortune, or just made his name, pre-internet, Corey Holcomb. And you got a guy who Anton Daniel, who we know, or we've come to know as a guy who made a lot of his attention and fame through the internet. You know what I'm saying? Within the past, I don't know, however many years. That's the perfect example that I noticed of the pre-internet and what's going on since the internet has become a big deal. And I got thoughts about that. But, I'm looking at the situation and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, you got a guy who's arrogant on both sides. Both of them got cockiness and arrogance about them. But the one who made their fame and fortune pre-internet, obviously, you know what I'm saying, he will be viewed and looked at as the person who, I guess, established himself, the right way, so to speak. Corey Holcomb got his fame and fortune years before the internet. I remember watching him younger on BET, Comic View, and all of that, different movies and things of that nature. Television, I think he might have made appearances on television shows, comedy specials, and all of that. So he's been around for over 20 plus years pre-internet. Anton Daniels been around, I guess, the last decade plus. So it's a unique situation how you can see the arrogance of both men and the cockiness of how fame and fortune, or fame and attention, can basically build you up. But I'm looking at the new guard, basically taking out the old guard, which is Anton Daniels. In that situation, at first, when I first saw it, I thought he was out of line. I didn't think he was, I didn't think how he approached it based on the internet clips I seen, not watching the full context at that time. I thought he was out of line, how he approached Corey Holcomb. But then when I watched the context and then I watched further explanation from Anton Daniels, I thought that he explained himself pretty good. And when I looked at it and when I saw the full context of it, I did see how Corey Holcomb kind of set himself up for that. I don't think he should have ever really even put himself in that position personally. But I think that when I look at that video, the video and how the situation went down, it just gives me a lot of ideas about how the internet has pretty much taken over the world, and these last, especially social media and applications and smartphones and all of that, compared to when when that wasn't around. I got a chance to kind of exist and live in both, you know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it and I'm saying, like, a lot of people on this internet definitely get cocky and arrogant based on the attention that they get, based on the whatever income or whatever benefits come with it. I notice how people start to get cocky and get arrogant and build up their platforms, and their mind starts to change. Because a lot of the stuff that I see on the internet, people start off humble and start off in a, in a more laid back approach. But then when you get a lot of attention and a lot of fame, you start to build yourself up and put yourself in that class as if you've been on the level of a person like a Corey Holcomb, who honestly, he was around famous before the internet. He put a lot of groundwork in to build his name prior to this. He was around before this wasn't even a thing. So I'm looking at the arrogance of both men, But what I do notice is not just the example of Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels, but I'm looking at the fact that a lot of people on the internet got a lot of emotion, a lot of clout, I guess, a lot of attention. And there's benefits that come with it. Monetizations, all these different things that come with it. But I do notice how people build up their identity when they started to get internet clout or internet fame, and they started talking down on different people and started acting arrogant. You know what I'm saying? Like when I listen to certain comment or see certain people now that have been on the internet for decades or been around for a long time, I can see how that has made their mentality shift to think that they're famous on a level of somebody who built their fame prior to the internet. So when I look at the Corey Holcomb situation and Anton Daniels situation, that's kind of what I see. But I see the arrogance of both men. But one of them just, you know what I'm saying, I think Corey Holcomb put himself in a bad light, put himself in a bad position to even have that happen. But in my opinion, he kind of asked for it because he was trying to step to Anton Daniels in a different way. He was talking to him kind of throughout the interview or whatever, throughout the the video. He was kind of talking crazy to him. But when Anton Daniels returned fire, it kind of shook up everything. But me personally, if I'm in Corey Holcomb's situation, I wouldn't even put myself in that situation. I would have never even brought him on the show. I would have just kept him moving, in my opinion. That's just how I think. It looked like Anton Daniels walked away with a lot of the, it looked like he walked into the into the opposing arena, the visiting arena, and basically got the victory on his home court. You know what I'm saying? That's what it looked like. If I'm using the analogy of sports, it was kind of crazy. Like in one video, he basically, I wouldn't say destroyed what he built, but he definitely highly threatened what that man built pre-internet. And that's kind of what you got to be careful about sometimes. And that's why I look at the internet as a good thing, and it could be a bad thing, because you can get a lot of attention out of nowhere and become famous and start acting crazy. And that's what I see when I see a lot of people that got social media following, period. Like, start acting like they've been famous and all of that based off the likes and the clicks of people. And even myself, if I ever did post this video and then all of a sudden I built a platform or build something off this, and all of a sudden I start acting cocky because I'm successful now or doing things, you can even call me out on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think I would act that way if I built my name off the internet. I wouldn't all of a sudden act like I was better than somebody that been famous pre-internet. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't sit here and act like I'm under that person either. You know what I'm saying? It's just, when I look at this situation, I see the contrast of what today's world is, not at the internet and social media and smartphones and applications and, you know what I'm saying, video monetization, not at that's a real thing, compared to when it wasn't even around. And I see how somebody who's built their whole name up pre-internet, you know what I'm saying, pretty much got everything threatened by somebody who got their fame and attention based off the internet. And so that's where that clash is. And that's where a lot of times people get into this, like, you know, the arrogance of both people. But Anton Daniels explained himself pretty well. I think he kind of absolved himself from a lot of the blowback that initially got, to me, I thought was coming his way. But one of the things that I do notice, though, is when I see, like I said, the internet is just one of those things that can build you up, can give you a lot, but it can also take away too. But for the most part, the arrogance of people, I find it kind of humorous too. When I look at certain people, like through the years, like when somebody like Anton Daniels, for an example, I remember watching him do a vlog in my hometown. And I was thinking to myself, oh, I like this dude. He came to the city, kind of walked around and did some things and showed some things. And then years later, I'm watching his content. Through the years, I didn't even remember that was the same guy. So about last year sometime over the summer, I go back and I watch that vlog. I'm like, oh, this is Anton Daniels. I remember when he first did the video of this. I was watching his content. He didn't necessarily have this arrogance about him or this cockiness about him. He was just a vlogger or whatever. He was on the internet. So then when I look years later through the years, how much he's grown and his platform has grown, which I think is a dope thing, I can also see the arrogance and the cockiness as well. And I remember he did a video, I might have saw this about last year sometime as well. One of his first videos he did on the internet, I remember he had a very soft-spoken voice, like, you know what I'm saying? He didn't speak with this new voice that he has now, this new, I guess, confidence, or I wouldn't even say confidence because I don't even know. He might have been that way prior. But based on the video that I saw from like over a decade ago when he first was doing content, he had a very soft-spoken voice. He didn't even have his teeth fixed at the time. He had a lisp or a gap or whatever, and he was very soft-spoken. And I was thinking to myself, like, through the years, when did you get all, you know, when did you get all tough and all, you know, cocky and all, now you speaking all masculine, and you know what I'm saying? It was a very soft-spoken dude. He was a very soft-spoken dude when I first saw that video. This video had to be over a decade ago. He was walking around the neighborhood and showing off, you know, his homes or whatever, where he grew up, his old neighborhood. But through the years, I'm like, the confidence and the cockiness of being on the internet has helped this man build his platform and all of that. I'm not knocking that, but I do see a level of arrogance, you know what I'm saying, that came about. And then it's something funny about when a dude gets his teeth did. You know what I'm saying? Like, I find it very funny, like, when a guy get his teeth done, it's a very unique situation, how confident and how much more arrogant a guy speaks publicly. There's another dude on TV that's been kind of like having his name in the algorithm for controversy or just for clicks and likes. And his name is Gully TV, and I watch him from time to time. And I remember when he didn't have his teeth done, and now he got his teeth done. And these dudes be talking cocky on the internet, talking crazy. I'm not saying that to diss them. I'm just simply pointing out what I observed. I recently just seen a video just last night about Damon Dash, like, addressing Cameron. And now that he got his teeth done, he talking a lot different on camera. Because anybody remember when Dame Dash had the video where his teeth fell out his mouth. This was just last year sometime. And how humble he was and how different he was. And I watched that and I'm like, I'm looking at it now and I'm like, I just seen the video that he addressed Cam and he got his teeth done, and you know what I'm saying? It looked, you know, like the job looked like they did a good job. The dentist did a good job. Looked like his real teeth and all of that. But I noticed how much cockier and how much more confident he looked, how he was approaching Cam in the video compared to when he didn't have that his teeth done. So that's one of the things that I noticed, like, just some of the arrogance. When you finally get some of those flaws fixed, you start getting out here and start talking crazy, and you start having this confidence. Some of it be irrational, some of it be crazy. And that's kind of how I feel when I just see certain things. I observe certain things. But personally, I don't really want to take no shot at them, but that's just my opinion, though. The internet pros and cons and the pre-internet pros and cons. But as far as Corey Holcomb is concerned, he kind of set himself up for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he opened himself up for that to really threaten a lot of his following and just a lot of the things that he built up. Because Corey Holcomb do talk very bold and confident. All these guys talk like that. So when a situation like that happen, man, you gotta really be on top of it. So what I observed, you know, I'm just sitting back looking like, man, the cockiness of the internet and what pre-internet clout was and what post-internet, you know, since the internet has been a big deal, the cockiness and the arrogance of when you build yourself up off the internet. That's what I observed and what I see. But I got more thoughts on it. But like I said, this the working man opinion. I ain't got a dog in the race. I ain't got a dog in the fight. It's just my opinion and what I'm seeing. How much, you know, when you build your name up and when you start having motion, you can start getting cocky and all of that. either way it go, man. Like, this internet will build you up and give you everything you want from it. But where's your level of humility too? You know what I'm saying? You wasn't always the hottest blogger. You wasn't always the hottest YouTuber or whatever. You wasn't always the hottest person on the internet. One of the few things that I noticed about this generation is the men, you know, we have this, YouTube, I guess, has been the thing that has built the men up. All of these men, social media has been really good for a lot of us in these last few years since it's been a big deal. But YouTube and I guess the video scene has been what would, you know, what Instagram models and OnlyFans and all of those things is for the female. That's what YouTube is for the man, for the men in this business. It's kind of funny how cocky women are on the internet now too, because they got a following and all of that, because you might have a nice shape or you might look nice, and now all of a sudden you can go on these social media sites and gain a following and gain, you know, influence and reap benefits from it. But one of the few things that I do notice about the men's side is this internet space, when it comes to YouTube and all of that, it's a jockeying for position. And I feel like Anton Daniels went into the lion's den, so to speak, and slayed the lion. You know what I'm saying? He took out, I don't think he destroyed Corey Holcomb, but he took out a platform, or he stepped on a platform and really basically clowned that man in a lot of ways, made him look silly. Something that he worked hard for pre-internet to build his name up. So just be careful when you get to a place where you feel like you accomplished so much based off what you see now. You know what I'm saying? Based off the arrogance and the cockiness of the internet now compared to somebody who built something prior to that. But if you let somebody threaten what you built, then that's on you. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I got more.